Hi, and welcome back to Useful AI Hacks. Today, we're breaking down the hottest AI news stories, keeping them concise, actionable, with no hype. So let's get right into it. First up, OpenAI. They just acquired a product testing startup, StatStick, reinforcing development applications in AI. This move is seen as a strategic leap towards smarter, user-focused AI products.
We've got a news alert on ChatGPT parent OpenAI. Mackenzie Sagalos, what's going on?
Hey there, Brian. So OpenAI just made one of its biggest purchases yet, paying $1.1 billion in an all-equity purchase for StatSig, according to a source close to the deal. Now, this is a software startup best known for A/B testing and product experimentation with a customer list that includes Microsoft. Now, the deal stands out in an industry defined lately by acqui-hires like Meta with Scale AI or Google with Windsurf, where in practice it's really only the talent changing hands. But this time, OpenAI is buying the entire company, raising questions about whether rivals will keep using StatSig now that it's in-house. Its founder, Vijay Raji, will become OpenAI's Chief Technology Officer of Applications, reporting to Fiji Simo, who he overlapped with at Meta. He'll oversee product engineering for ChatGPT. Now, at the same time, we are seeing a wider leadership reshuffle across the company, Brian. OpenAI telling me that the deal and position changes are about building out its enterprise offerings and shipping those products faster.
All right, so I've just while you were talking, I briefly scanned StatSig's website, so I'm going to give you my 30-second expert view. So I'm a real pro, Mac, in this. It looks like StatSig as a company takes a lot of data and then tries to come up with some kind of logical outcome. In other words, it's a thinking machine in some ways. My best guess is maybe OpenAI is making this because OpenAI is filled with data. It's all they got, billions and billions of data points every day. And the key for anybody is to just make sense and have some conclusion from all that outcome and all that data.
Yeah.
No?
I know that is a strong read of what the company does, and it's really on the product experimentation side where it proves that utility, which is key here. Because think about what OpenAI has been pushing to do in the last few months with in the last month with GPT-5. They're going after the enterprise customer, which has really been Anthropic's bread and butter, catering to that B2B consumer. And what they're looking to do is bring more products to market faster, and so this really helps to expedite that process. And it comes as, just today, Brian, Anthropic announcing that they closed their Series F. They've tripled their valuation. You've got OpenAI going out to employees just this week at a valuation of $500 billion. So there's a lot of money at stake.
Maybe it's just buying the ice cream cone so the other guy that you just mentioned can't have the ice cream. Either way, another deal, OpenAI spending some of that money. Mackenzie Sagalos, appreciate it. Thank you.
And next up, we have AI startup Anthropic, who soared to a staggering $183 billion valuation, intensifying the race among generative AI leaders. The investors are betting big on the company's Claude models, setting the stage for a fierce competition.
We open with a spin-off from OpenAI, which is now worth more than the entire Indian unicorn ecosystem combined. Anthropic has just raised $13 billion in a Series F round at a jaw-dropping $183 billion valuation. That's bigger than all the VC money raised in India last year by one single AI lab. And here's a fascinating fact. SpaceX, the company that builds rockets, has raised just $12 billion in its entire history. This isn't just another fundraise. It's actually a clear signal that AI is the new Manhattan Project. In May 2023, Anthropic was worth $4.1 billion. By March 2025, $61.5 billion. Today, September 2025, here it is, $183 billion. That is a 3-time jump in just 6 months. And the money isn't from apps. It's for compute. Training GPT-4 cost about $100 million. Claude 4 or Opus, likely $1 billion plus dollars. At this pace, Claude 7 may need its own sovereign wealth fund. Enterprises are voting with their wallets. LLM API spend doubled in 6 months, up from $3.5 billion in 2024 to $8.4 billion mid 2025. Anthropic now leads the enterprise API market with 32% share, overtaking OpenAI at 25% and Google at 20%. So basically, in coding, Claude dominates with 42% share, double OpenAI's 21%. Their killer product, Claude Code, an agentic coding integrated development environment, IDE, in just 3 months. It hit $500 million run rate revenue, growing 10 times almost overnight. And businesses are choosing performance over price. Even though model costs are dropping 10 times per year, 61% of enterprises say they switch models for better performance, not to save money. That's why Anthropic's revenue skyrocketed from $1 billion to $5 billion run rate in just 8 months, making it the fastest growing software company in history. As one can clearly see, AI spend is shifting from training models to running them in production, from open source experiments to closed source lock-in. Today, 77% of startups and 51% of enterprises avoid open source entirely. What we are actually seeing is consolidation around a few frontier labs where whoever controls compute, power, and GPUs, well, controls the future of intelligence. Anthropic, once dismissed as the OpenAI spin-off, is now the enterprise AI market leader, backed by some of the world's biggest investors, Iconic, Fidelity, Lightspeed, BlackRock, and sovereign wealth funds from Qatar to Singapore. From $4 billion in 2023 to $183 billion today, Anthropic's rise shows us one thing. This isn't about apps. It's about owning intelligence itself. Please let us know what you think in the comments below.
And Microsoft unveiled its own in-house AI models this week with MAI Voice 1 and MAI 1 Preview, aiming to rival offerings from OpenAI and Google. This marks a major step in Microsoft's vertical integration of AI tools.
Microsoft has made a significant move in the AI landscape with the introduction of 2 new proprietary models. Today, we'll explore what MAI 1 Preview and MAI Voice 1 mean for the future of AI integration. MAI Voice 1 is a cutting-edge speech generation model that can produce up to 1 minute of high-quality audio in under a second using a single GPU. It's already integrated into Microsoft products like Copilot Daily and podcasts, aligning with Microsoft's vision of voice as the primary AI interface. On the other hand, MAI 1 Preview is Microsoft's first fully in-house trained text model developed using approximately 15,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. This model is currently in public testing and will soon enhance Copilot features within Windows and Office. By developing these models internally, Microsoft aims to optimize costs and have greater control over AI technology, potentially influencing the broader tech industry. Microsoft's launch of MAI 1 Preview and MAI Voice 1 underscores its commitment to developing competitive AI technologies. Comment, like, and subscribe for more daily AI news.
And China's freaking into the AI news again with their new AI law that's taken effect. It requires all AI-generated content to be visibly labeled. Analysts say that it's the toughest such regulation in the world so far, aiming to boost transparency and curb misuse of AI.
China will win this race. Yeah, it's looking a lot like it. I was in China in April in Beijing, and I've told the story a few times, but on that trip, I used to live in Beijing, but I hadn't been back for a number of years. But while flying over, I was chatting to somebody on the plane, which was good to help me practice my Chinese before I landed. And she was from Hangzhou, which is where DeepSeek is made. And she introduced this. She said, "Oh, I'm from this city. It's the birthplace of DeepSeek." So there was a pride there. Whereas in the West, we don't have that pride. There's a lot more, I guess, more complicated feelings about artificial intelligence. Whereas in China, I felt the people I talked to, and this is purely anecdotal, they were a lot more excited about the implications of it and what could be done with AI, which, I mean, as somebody who shares that excitement, I really liked. And then I kept bumping into AI just in daily life. Like once I was in some alleyways, a hutong, looking for a noodle bar, couldn't find it. I talked to a grandma, and that's like, can you help me find this noodle bar? She had this really thick Beijing accent. If you don't know it, it's very like, ar, ar, ar. It's very R. It sounds a bit piratical. It's an awesome accent. I love it. But her accent was so thick that I was really struggling to communicate with her. And at one point, she just pulled out her phone, and she didn't bring up a map or anything. She went DeepSeek, and she wrote into it. I read her Chinese afterwards. It said, "Please help this young man find this noodle bar," basically, and give it to him tell him in English, or what was it? Yeah, in his language. She put in, and it gave me directions to the noodle bar in English, and she gave it to me. And she must have been in her 70s or so. It's a technology that is being taken a lot more seriously in China, whereas in the West we are still flirting with it. It is very much embedded there. Things like really basic things, like in the big bookshops, when you go in and you see the bestsellers, you see the books that are being promoted, they were all about how to use DeepSeek and how to use artificial intelligence. And I have a few of them. I purchased a few over there. So it is very much a more popular approach. Like everybody is starting to use it, whereas we're lagging a bit in the West, let's put it that way. So yeah, they're doing very well, extremely well. I think when we get to robotics as well, that's going to be the ball game, because China has the manufacturing capability to produce robotics at a cost which allows them to become widely adopted. That's the main problem. One of the main problems in robotics is we can build really impressive things, but if it costs the same as a family car, that doesn't make it practical to use on a day-to-day basis. If you can get that down to a couple of $1,000, $500, $100, then suddenly it's, okay, everyone is going to have one of these in their houses. And that is not going to happen in America. That's not going to happen in Europe. We don't have the manufacturing capability. It's going to happen in China, because for the last few decades, the West has sent all of its manufacturing over to China. The problem with all of this Chinese content, though, is the stuff we get about it in the West is not very detailed. So we have two things happening in China right now. The first is AI is becoming a mandatory part of curriculums in schools for anyone above the age of 6. So the Chinese Education Authority has issued a 3-year action plan to adjust the curriculum in line with major strategic needs, focusing on urgently needed disciplines and majors targeting the nation's strategic, emerging and future industries, so AI, and strengthening the role of artificial intelligence in AI, so the Ministry of Education has announced. So there's a 3-year plan, and they're pushing for more engineers, more mathematicians, more computer scientists, etc., in line with the strategic needs of China. So the West does this as well. We just tend not to use this kind of language. So when we read this kind of thing, we're like, oh, wow, that's serious sounding. But we do exactly the same thing. We just don't couch it in the terms of strategic interest, because that sounds very warmongering. So this was announced. We've had rumors of this, talking about this for the last few months, but it kicked in today because the kids have gone back to school. They went back yesterday, the 1st of September, after their summer holidays. And it means they now have compulsory AI classes. So local government is beginning to take action after Beijing said it wants all primary and secondary schools to study the advanced tech. So this is a specific school in Hangzhou in the south. Will introduce mandatory artificial intelligence courses for primary and secondary schools as part of a nationwide strategy to nurture talent in the rapidly growing sector. Schools will have flexibility in how they deliver the lessons. Interesting. Either by concentrating them within a single week, so you have an AI week, or integrating AI content into subjects like IT and science. So that's interesting. You have to have 10 class hours of instruction per year for all kids in China now. But it's up to the local school boards, it's up to the local schools, it's up to the teachers to work out how exactly to do that. The guidelines detail content requirements and teaching methods across grade levels. In the first 2 years of primary school, students will be introduced to everyday AI applications, probably DeepSeek, it's not going to be ChatGPT, interact with basic devices and learn about the role of technology in daily life. Classes will stress the importance of responsible use with a focus on privacy. In the 3rd and 4th grade, students will create simple projects by using AI tools to gather text, images and audio for schoolwork and everyday tasks. In America, it's 8 to 9. So they're using the same terminology in this article. So this means 8-year-olds will be building basic AI applications. In the 5th and 6th grades, so that's going to be 8, 9, 10 and 11 years old, they will study AI scenarios and basic models, including decision trees and neural networks, alongside algorithms like reasoning and brute force search. So that will be layered into mathematics, I imagine. Again, this is in primary school. This is 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds before they go up to secondary or high school, or middle school if you're in America. At the middle school level, students will cover the entire AI workflow from data preparation to model training to inference, while addressing real-world challenges and evaluating generative AI. In high school, the focus will shift to project-based work where students design AI systems to develop intelligent agents, honing their ability to apply technology in daily life. Going to start at age 6. So 6 and 7, that's when you introduce the AI application. This is nationwide. So there are going to be more rural schools, which won't necessarily have the same level of instruction straight away. But Beijing, so the government will be helping those schools to keep up so that they can make sure all of the kids get the same education as well. Very cool, especially the importance of responsible use with the focus on privacy. I'd love to get my hands on like an actual curriculum from the school. There's a law, this isn't just a recommendation, this is a law requiring explicit and implicit labels for AI generated text, images, audio, video, and other virtual content. Major Chinese social media platforms, including Weixin, WeChat, and Douyin, have launched new features to abide by Monday's rollout. The new law that mandates the labeling of all artificial intelligence generated content online. The law, which was issued back in March, so they've had 9 months to get ready, requires explicit and implicit labels for AI generated text, image, audio, videos, and other virtual content. Explicit markings must be clearly visible to users. So if you have an image, it will have AI, it will say in the corner, while implicit identifiers such as digital watermarkers are embedded in the metadata. So we have in the West, so I'm using that very generally, but in our Western models, we do have implicit metadata. So for example, if you generate an image on ChatGPT, it will have in its data that it's been generated by ChatGPT, which is now when you upload to an image to LinkedIn. In LinkedIn in particular, it will say in the corner AI, because that has been pulled from the metadata inside of the image that's been generated by ChatGPT. And then when you upload it to LinkedIn, it adds a little stamp saying this has been AI generated. You can immediately remove that you could just wipe the metadata and that is suddenly gone. China's going a bit further by having explicit and implicit demarcations. Aligns with a broader push to tighten AI oversight, which was made a key focus of the Cyberspace Administration of China's 2025 Qinglang or Bright on Clear campaign, an annual initiative aimed at cleaning up China's cyberspace. It'd be interesting to see if lawmakers and regulators in the West are looking at this to see how it goes and to see if there's anything that they want to borrow. I understand why it's being done. I do wonder how easy this stuff's going to be to remove, because this is always the problem with digital watermarking, with these kind of regulations, is that the people who actually want to defraud, the people who actually want to spread misinformation and cause trouble, they are the ones who are going to spend the time going around these kind of measures. We will see how it goes. What I would say with both this and the initiatives in Chinese schools teaching AI to kids is that what we're seeing, whether you agree with what they're doing or not, whether you agree with watermarking and whether you agree with explicitly teaching kids how to use AI. They're very proactive in China, whereas in the West, especially in the UK, we are floundering around. We know we need to do something about AI, and our government makes big noises about it. So Keir Starmer made lots of racket about, oh, we're going to be an AI first nation. We're going to spearhead AI, and
Reuters reports that the U.S. FTC is preparing to grill leading AI companies about their technology's impact on children. Authorities want to make sure that the AI chatbots and apps are safe and privacy conscious for young users.
The Washington Post reports, scan your face laws for web age checks are spreading worldwide to protect children online. Other outlets, including AP, CNBC, and the Wall Street Journal, say they prompt privacy concerns and tools that can limit anonymous browsing and free expression. Tech firms are racing to build AI age verification systems, while advocates press for frameworks that protect kids without curbing speech. Critics worry these measures could expand into broader surveillance if rules are not carefully limited. Follow for more updates.
Well, that's your quick AI rundown for today. Thank you for watching Useful AI Hacks. Be sure to tap that subscribe button and toggle that notification bell so you get notified when the next Useful AI Hacks video launches tomorrow. See you then.